Woody had gone right to the police, this would never have happened.
Uh-oh.
So, there are liberties being taken, like, there's going to be an increased amount of shit talk.
Oh, I have to remind myself I'm here willingly.
Catch one with a little bit of attitude, big guy?
Man, you champion son.
Well, it's a kangaroo court.
What do you mean how is the NFL a kangaroo court?
Could you please let me explain why?
No, I don't want to hear this garbage. Give me an answer to the questions I asked you.
What the fuck are we doing?
Come on with it, baby!
Thanks, boy.
I'll talk to you later.
Let's get to the thing.
All right. My undercarriage is sweating. For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Dipaolo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs. All right, and welcome into another edition of the Third and Manageable Podcast. I am your host, Matt Diegert, and as always, to my left, right, center, top, bottom, student body right.
hey, what's going on? This is a big one. Let's introduce the rest, Maddie, because they're more esteemed and less calorically conserving than I am.
Me too at this point right now.
Yeah, I know.
So definitely want to thank everybody for being here tonight here at Elio Dipaolo's Live. Had a great dinner with Ryan Talbot and Anthony. Be cool, fool.
Why don't you go in and say what's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Great meal. Looking forward to talking Bills with you guys.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, there's Anthony. And you guys are two guys who are so ingratiated from two different optic points. He's from the booth, and he's from the boots on the ground. So, you guys had a great meal at Elliot Dipaolo's. Obviously, an amazing sponsor. I think it'd be great to why don't you just tell us your order real quick? Real quick. You keep it light. Like, I was setting up stuff, so I didn't see it. Like, any... Right, like you don't got the meat sweats like I do. Like Anthony, doesn't look like you have any huevos rancheros on you. So
The Brady wings and the steak pizza over.
there you go, laddie. What about you, Rye?
We started out with some Brady wings, unbelievable. Had the 16-ounce prime rib, medium rare, best prime rib I've had.
Hang on. Say that again. How are the Brady wings?
Phenomenal.
Everything you need.
Best in Buffalo. Best in Buffalo.
Hey, Matt,
right?
real quick, everything you need.
Nothing you don't.
Yeah. So, Rye, we'll bust into this real quick. You're in the booth. You got the big guy optics up there. Do they do media meals like they do? And how do those fare? And what are they charging you? Like $11.99? Or like, does that go up with the tariffs or not?
No. So free spread up there, and it varies by the week. They usually have a breakfast out by 10:30, and for the 1 o'clock games, and then halftime they have a different thing. They try to do like. So if like Pittsburgh's in town, the Pittsburgh steak salad.
The Primanti brothers,
they'll try to do their cuisine, which I don't get because they can get that back in Pittsburgh. But
copying is the biggest form of flattery.
I mean,
right?
a Pittsburgh salad is pretty good. We're not going to sit here and lie,
Throw
but
some fries in a salad.
Exactly. Primanti Brothers is one of the best sandwiches I've ever had in my life.
So that was probably the catering for the 1 p.m. games. I got to ask, man, as we get better, as we get more eyeballs on us, and it gets scheduled for these big games. What's that booth energy like when we're slated for like a 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.? Is there more anxiety? What's the vibe like up in that box? Is it more palatable? Does anything change? Like, what's the feeling there for the bigger games and the later games? Just when it's like hurry up and wait.
Yeah, the bigger games, it's definitely a different atmosphere. And mind you, in the press box, there's no cheering, there's nothing like that. But the excitement of the fan base and how loud it gets when there's those big plays on the field, that still gets you pumped up as you're watching it, just from that unbiased viewpoint. And then the pre-games with the light shows and everything else, it's cool to watch it from that viewpoint of seeing the fan base and everyone else get hyped up.
Can I say something real quick about that, Ryan? Boo Boo. Absolutely. I cannot believe you guys, because I know you guys are have to kind of hold your fandom back a little bit, but your playoffs, it's AFC divisional round, and the Bills just scored to win a touchdown. You guys got to be like.
That's the reason you got DirecTV back in the day.
Well, there's, we'll say, oh my good, we're not cheering, we're not yelling, but we're commenting on it in live, game, and as best we can without being reactionary to it. I will say there was one away game I went to where they say the same thing: working press box, no cheering. And in that game, the opposing media members were certainly cheering for that team.
Yeah, did you ever get up to that box and you're pretty active on Twitter and you're just like, there's my adversary. there's a guy that's been subtweeting me for the last 3 weeks. Hey, Jerry Coleman.
I was looking for him when he was.
I think Eric Wood was too.
Yeah, and he was not in Buffalo for that game. He did not show up, and maybe he never.
Oh, why not? Why not?
Not a big fan of Buffalo, as we all know.
Well, and the Bills are big fans of philanthropy, and that's one of the reasons we have Be Cool Foley, the president of Poncho's Army. If you can comment on that directly, any more pregame nerves? Not so much for the box, but from the lots.
Real quick, before you get to the flamingo, that oxtail you guys did, amazing.
That changed my life.
Amazing.
Rob, have you ever had oxtail?
I have not.
Oh, if you get a chance and you get a day off, tell Matt you want a day off from one of the Bills games. Go to his tailgate. We'll be there. Exactly. The oxtail is oxtail is some of the best I've ever had.
And when you come into this Bills game, and I'll ask you guys both a personal question if you can answer it separately. There is a type of celebrity kind of drummed up as the success rises within the gridiron. You guys are very two centered and balanced people. You guys know your purpose. You guys always have a vision. You guys started a while ago. Is it a trip that kind of the celebrity? I know I asked your significant other, both of you guys, before this thing, when you guys get recognized out there, and that is it at all validating that you guys are doing something that's worth listening to?
Gain the pillars of success, but not only just in the community, but just in your own talents and bringing out your own aspirations. It's beautiful to see, man.
Yeah, 100%. It's humbling when someone does recognize you out and about. It's happening a little bit more now in my hometown, a little outside of Buffalo. But there was one time I was in Rochester with my wife Joelle, and she had a fast for this doctor's appointment. So we go, she fasts, doctor's appointment over, she says, I got to eat something. So we found a Chick-fil-A that was nearby, and we walk in, and this guy is I don't know, the greeter or something, and he looks at me, he goes, do I know you? Are you famous? Do you cover the Bills? I'm like, the last one. You don't know me, I'm not famous, but yes, I do cover the Bills. So
that's
that was
great.
kinda cool.
That's great.
Man, I just feel like we're at a time in the season right now that the news cycle's slow, but getting on anything, especially being the first on it, there has to be a balanced dynamic of the influx of information versus the output of dissentiment. How do you deem what's newsworthy? What is accredited? Is it source based? Is it you've been doing this long enough? Where you know what you want to do.
Yeah, I think we're at that point now where we know we have a good idea of what we should go with, what we shouldn't. Some of these aggregated articles that get put out, maybe we pass on those, especially leading up to free agency.
Sure.
Every team's top target, because some of them are crazy, like DJ Reed for the Bills. I saw in one where the Bills weren't going to give out that kind of money. But once free agency begins, you're monitoring it as best you can. The one thing I'll say is it's come to the point now where just about every single free agent, their agent is connecting with one of those major insiders, the Schefters, the Raptors.
There's negotiation in the media.
Yeah, the Pelissero, and I saw this week Will Claps was getting leaked by NFL Network. I'm like, all right, well, if Will Clapp is getting like reported first by NFL Network, there's no point in me even reaching out to some of these guys. You know, it is what it is, and there's no knock on Will Clapp. He's had a long NFL career, but it's not like I'm trying to break the news on a Josh Allen extension either.
No, totally hear you there.
Real quickly, I mean, we talk about getting first, and we talked about it. The last time we had you on our pod, getting first, getting it right, things like that. I mean, we made a little bit of a. I don't want to call it snafu because we were told,
let's just do it. I think there's enough time that went by, and we haven't talked about it yet. And I leaned on Ryan because Ryan's like a big guy for me. Is that it's no secret that we do have some relationships on this podcast with players, as you guys did, and I got agency, from Tommy to put out he was retiring, and for once again the same reasons I have the personal relationship, or the same things I wouldn't divulge of why I took it down. But took it down. I did get ethered a little bit, and I guess this is just an open forum for anybody who wants to learn. How can I be better at managing the personal relationships? What is couth? What is of decorum on some of those sensitive matters? Like, is there anything you won't touch, like retirements, injury? Is there anything you just by the trade you don't want to break? You don't want to be first and not give the player the agency of his own voice.
If you're not first, you're last, right?
The injuries for sure, because one, there is some speculation to that in terms of what you hear and then what the real injury is. There could be a little bit of a difference there, but what happened there with Tommy? You got the blessing, you got the okay. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes though, then people kind of have they second guess themselves and say, well, maybe I want to kind of put something out, or
right.
I want to let the team do something, and that's okay too. So I don't think you did anything wrong whatsoever in this case, and you were diligent about it. This wasn't just something where you were careless or reckless about it.
Appreciate that.
So it was a true event that happened. It's just sometimes players have that change of heart where, well, you know what, I kind of want to do it on my own terms, and that's, you respect that.
Right, and I feel like
and that's why we took it down.
Well, I took it down because I aspire to be in the game as long as you are, and I know this game is dynamic, not static. So you do have to move and shake. But you know what else is dynamic, not static? Players' numbers. A couple players' numbers match changed today. Actually, he liked the 8. And he's talking about one Terrell Bernard, and we like him enough to keep him around. This segment's called Off the Rack, sponsored by Fat Boy Surf Club. It's good enough for Spencer Brown. It's good enough for Tommy Dahl. Good enough for the Hogs and Alec Anderson. Good enough for you. Off the Rack, uniform changes that you should care about. Matt, who changed their uniform number today?
So we actually have Terrell Bernard, number 8.
Which we are giving a massive thumbs up to.
Thanks to Sam Martin leaving.
I mean, how do we feel about a linebacker in a single-digit number?
I gotta be honest with you, like
Brian Moorman, so I'm a Brian.
But my ethos was, if I see a cat coming out of college, especially D lineman that's wearing a single digit, I just assume he's selfish.
I feel like the D linemen do need the double-digit numbers. They need the bigger build. Secondary members, I'm cool with single digits, and linebackers too. Bernard's not the biggest guy, so I think it'll look good on him, and I'm in favor of it because.
Was there a reason for it? I mean,
I believe it was. I did see something. Was the college number, or was the high school? Was that it?
I thought he wore 2 in college. But anyway, like you said, he's not the biggest guy, so maybe he could fill out that single digit more. Isn't that where the linebacker position is going? You don't see these absolute fully gunned out tanks like the Ray Lewises or like the Luke Kuechly's and stuff like that. You see a dynamic guy who can get to bail coverage and cover 2, who can get and play like a robber, who can rock down and play a dog. That's one of the biggest knocks about Terrell Bernard is his size, and he proved that it really works well within a Bobby Babbitt defense.
Maybe in that number 8 now they'll think he's maybe a corner and they'll start throwing to him. You never know.
Yeah, the one thing I really liked about Babbitt last year, before he was named, or 2 years ago, before he was named the defensive coordinator, is he was working with the linebackers a lot, and he said he didn't think of a certain size or a weight for linebackers.
Yeah.
He wanted to look at can they run across the field? Can they do everything that I want them to do schematically in this defense, or what Sean wants them to do? And sure enough, they hit on Bernard. I mean, they were in that competition for the starting linebacker spot. He gets injured. You don't know who's going to start the season. He comes in and he makes splash play after splash play, and he just keeps doing that. He has been banged up a little bit here and there. That is the concern. But the Bills obviously liked him enough, one, to make him a captain this year, one of two captains on the team, and then two, obviously, to give him this extension. So
can you speak to that real quick, Ryan?
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you. Like, what does that mean to the team that they only named two captains?
captain-
Yes, they had a captain group, but
Right. I think that they just wanted to kind of keep it focused with one on offense, one on defense, and who are the leaders of these two units, which Josh, obviously, on offense is your guy there. And Bernard earned a lot of respect very quickly for calling the defense and coming right in the way that he played here in Buffalo.
Yeah, our two green dots also. The green dot on the helmet also translated to the C patch.
Absolutely.
Matt's going to tie off a couple more we have for jersey changes.
yeah, real quick, we have all the numbers from the new guys. So we got Ogunjobi 99.
Probably won't see that till weeks.
Dane Jackson going back to 30. Yeah, let's not talk about PDs.
Okay.
Please. Chenault, LaVisca Chenault, 15. Josh Palmer, 5. Hoyt, 55. Funny enough, I was actually telling a student today earlier while we were watching the Sabres game that came out that he was going to 55.
Oh, Ash?
If you take away the O, he's wearing Jochen Hesch's number.
And the name's almost.
And if you take away the O in the 12-game skid we were in, we'd probably be in the playoffs. So,
this is true.
I would pose this and flip this to both of you guys, actually. You know, we're both we're all midlife crisis guys. I don't know if we're over wearing another man's name on the back of the jersey, but if we are, is there someone on the roster right now that you'd sport that name and that number on the back? And somebody, I asked Greg Tomset, he evaded the question. Shout out cover one. But is there anybody? I don't know if we're over it, but is there anybody on the roster right now you go into the pro shop and buy?
So not right now, but like based on covering the team, I would buy a Mitch Morse jersey in a heartbeat. That dude was amazing. Loved him in Buffalo.
Now I'm gonna hold you to that current player.
I know current player. I don't know because everyone in that locker room truly is great. I like them a lot. I don't know if there's anyone that I would necessarily say I have to have their jersey right now. It's just something about and they're like, again, they're all great, but the way that Mitch handled himself, like training camp, they do those media pressers in the tent.
Yeah.
He'd come up there ahead of time and sit with the media and just chat about family, chat about his life before even doing any of the Bills questions, any of that stuff. And just,
It's almost like he was a human first.
Yes.
Yeah.
That resonated with me. And so like I'll always be a huge Mitch Morse fan for that reason.
Anthony, you said Ray Davis.
But ex-player Uncle Zoe, because Lorenzo, that dude was like a Swiss Army knife. He did whatever the coach asked him to do, and he was always there in our community too, as well as like just trying to make a difference and make people smile. And Uncle Zoe cared. Like he literally.
I like that.
If you ever DM'd him, he didn't care if he knew you or not. If you were having a problem, he'd reach out to you just to make sure that you were good.
And for the lay, who is that?
I told you Ray Davis. That dude's been in struggles. That dude. It reminds me a lot.
But
of
who's Uncle Joe?
Uncle Zoe.
Oh, Zoe.
Lorenzo Alexander. Rye, how shocked were you that kind of like the same adage, the player that made you defend every blade of grass, got upfield, really was dynamic, much like a Chris Hogan, who we lost to the Patriots.
7-Eleven.
Mac.
Always open.
Mac, we lose him not necessarily in the same manner, but I thought he was a sure shot to return to this roster.
I think he was I thought he was a sure shot as well. And the Bills liked him. The Bills were interested in bringing him back, but I think they had a certain number in mind. And Mac and his reps had a number of their own. They probably let him go test free agency. The Patriots came in with that number that he was looking for, and at the end of the day, the Bills probably just couldn't match that because they have to go out and they wanted to get more of a weapon in Josh Palmer, and they wanted to address the defensive line and the defense because that's been the biggest weakness. So where you spread out that money, you probably didn't have enough to boost Mac to where he wanted to be, but he was so important to this team from locker room, beloved by the team, beloved by the front office, on the field, willing blocker.
But beloved by Spirit Halloween store.
Yes, the Fred Flintstone outfit, the animal from the Muppets. He definitely kept them in business here past Halloween.
Absolutely. He really plays to, just in some of those, cheeky outfits and stuff like that. It's something that Dion talks to is this coaching staff really allows you to be who you want to be. It makes it very comfortable to bring your family around. It makes it very comfortable, why we're playing, Catan, in camp, while we're playing, Madden and all that other stuff. What's camp like for you, for the media? Does it give you any old school Bonnie vibes or anything like that, or getting up there and kind of just tethering your relationships within your own cut of the media, because you guys all work together?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a very close media there as well. Now, training camp, I'll come up on the weekends. Matt covers the weekday practice. I'm doing summer school. I'm doing other things during the week, but the dorms are very interesting because that's where we'll do our podcast from a lot of time, and it does remind me of the Bonnie's days from the single desk
oscillating fan.
Yeah, the beds with the very thin mattresses, and it's fun though, because you're right, it brings that dynamic, and you're going to get food after the practices together, and you're sitting with the media members just like you would your buddies back at Bona's, like when I was growing up.
Yeah, well, in traveling, covering it, albeit, just going up to St. John Fisher, where super producer Ty actually played, there is some travel going around in the NFL this year. We know London is getting 3 games. The Jaguars are going to be at Wembley, the Browns, Tottenham, the Jets. We're doing Brazil, we're doing Germany, we're doing Spain, and we're doing Ireland. Yeah, I know. At what point does Shad Khan just move the Jaguars to London?
I thought that was a true possibility at some point, but they seem to be saying the right things about staying in Jacksonville. It's tough, though. That's a very inconsistent fan base. You got to be winning, I think, to get them to show up.
It's also hard to say the county, Liam Cohen, Duval?
Yeah.
I think it's Duval.
With the eyebrow raise and the double eyebrow raise, whatever that was. That was interesting. But, these international games, we don't know if the Bills are going to be an away team yet this year or not.
Schedule's not released yet.
It wouldn't shock me, though, for the reason that if you look at their away game schedule, the farthest they have to travel this year is Houston, which is not far at all. So they have a very favorable away schedule. So I could see the NFL saying, you know what, we could throw them in Dublin against Pittsburgh.
With Pittsburgh being in Dublin, yeah.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense. They don't do divisional games a ton, although they've done a few divisional Spain games. You could do Miami and Madrid. You could do the Jets or the Browns. So those are, those are 4 teams though that they have on their away game schedule. So it's a possibility for sure when you look at the lack of travel that they have this year.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And playing away like that, I always thought it was a sticking point. That you have EPL teams like Tottenham, like Man United and stuff like that. They won't lay out their pitch that they play, almost millions of dollars in maintenance fees. They're laying out a different playing field on top of that. Where do you stand just from all the fields you've seen of the dichotomy between artificial and in grass, or is it more of like, why don't you just give the players what they want?
Well, I mean, also too, you were at that London game, so it's not like you got to see it firsthand of them rolling out stuff on top of their $1 million field.
The Hotspurs are not going to let you.
Right.
Yeah.
They sent us.
Players, it was going to be grass.
Yeah.
They changed it to some bullshit.
So where are you at with that?
We were up earlier in that week. We went up on about a Tuesday, so we actually toured the stadium ahead of time. We saw the locker rooms. They took us out on the field, and they assured us that this artificial turf was going to be great. They had these little green pellets. They let us pick them up and hold them in our hands. It's going to help with the give and take on the field, and see all the injuries take place, and a bit of a disaster. I definitely think you got to give the players what they want with the amount of money that the NFL is generating right now because of the players themselves. I think where the Bills are going, it's going to be a good thing with this new stadium. So there are certainly some stadiums, though, in New Jersey and Detroit, elsewhere, people do worry a little bit about when you play there.
I mean that MetLife Stadium.
That is
Yeah.
one of the worst stadiums I have ever seen.
We talk about all the
personally.
time. Like you go in there and you see a very fast turnover, even a time lapse turnover between a Sunday night game with the Jets and a Monday night game with the Giants. It's no coincidence the cause of concern when you see all those the field safe pellets that are drawn up, from the vacuum and stuff like that. If we're going to make all these initiatives with the Guardian cap, if we're going to make all these initiatives with the Q collar, of which you see a lot of people wearing, if we're going to make all these initiatives with the blue tent, I'm kind of the volition. Like, hey, I know there's not a ton of it. I know there's not a ton of empirical data long enough, with the lower body extremity injuries, but there is a strong feeling. So, with that, if we get slated for any of those. Is there any that you can kind of finagle your wife? You're like, in.
100%. No, if they're going anywhere, I mean, that trip to London 2 years ago was unbelievable for the
Had you a couple pints, mate?
Yes. Oh yeah, we went around.
I think that was Australian.
We saw the sights, and she actually came with me on that trip. She got a great deal on a flight, and we had an Airbnb and everything else. So it worked out well. But yeah, if the Bills play somewhere internationally, I'll gladly go again.
Do you think that we lose a certain je ne sais quoi, even being an away team, playing it out of the country? Because we are so tethered to our environment. We're tethered to Mr. Brightside. We're tethered to the train horn. Do you think there's a sort of like we lose a bit of identity, or are we growing the game?
So, if you're asking me, from the perspective of the fans, I don't think they like it much. When I put out articles about Bills could possibly play in 4 international games, I get a negative reaction.
As a season ticket,
No.
As a season ticket holder, it's kind of hard to swallow a friggin' pill when you're raising our season ticket prices and you're taking away a home game and moving it up to London.
And now you want people to buy PSLs.
And yet you want me to keep paying for my season tickets, and I don't even have a cup holder for my beer.
I feel a bit different about PSLs. We're behind. Like if we're everything in a bag of chips, if we're worth covering on a national scale, PSL started in 1987. With the Carolina Panthers, and we're behind. If we want nice things,
95. But
if we want nice things, there's a committed path to pay for nice things.
Right, and I do believe that. There are some that the price, when you see it, there's that sticker shock for sure. I've talked with some people though where they found it digestible or manageable, where they say, okay, it's a one-time deal, and once I pay this off in due time, if I ever want to get rid of them, I think I can profit off of that. So it's an interesting conversation, but the last thing on those international games, it does grow the game though. And when I was in London, Bills fans took over in general, but there's so many fans in London of the Bills, and that was a once in a lifetime. Well, not once; they've moved there before that, but
clearly not.
Yeah, right.
By the way, Prost.
They loved it. So I'm sure there'd be fans in Dublin and Madrid that would find that to be unbelievable. And if it's an away game, I don't think fans would have as much to complain about the scoring. But I totally get it from
all those places that got the Bills won the Super Bowl T-shirts, right?
They have all the shirts. Yeah. 4 in a row. Jeez.
In terms of formidable foes, we do have Kyer is gone, right? A lot of very divisive opinions.
Well,
there.
Hold on. You gave a thumbs up. I get it, like play on the field, and that's one of the true hard things about this being here, doing this and being, friends with some of the players is seeing Kyer leave. Is seeing like players like that leave, because he truly was. You saw what he was. He was first and last out. It's tough. Seeing that. Yes, I agree with you that on the field play, he's not living up to par. But it's also tough to see that a player like that is one of the hardest workers.
Puts in the effort.
Wants it so bad.
Yeah.
Puts in the effort, and he just didn't get it done.
Right.
But you know what it is? He was drafted to be a corner that could be adapted from man-on-man, which we do not play, and put into a system, and it just didn't fucking work out. And every single person on the Bills roster, we'll tell him he's the man, keep him around, blah blah blah. But you know what, front office, they're not looking at the same thing.
And I agree with you completely, wholeheartedly. It's a business, but all I was saying is it's tough to see. And I hated seeing on Twitter, oh, thank God he's gone, and everything like that. Ryan, I don't know if you saw a whole bunch of it and everything like that on Twitter. It was absolutely abhorrent.
Yeah, there were a lot of fans that probably went a little too overboard with the reaction to it, and I get it. He didn't work out here in Buffalo, but to the point you just made, he was a man. He played man defense in college. The Bills play a ton of zone. Once Trent McDuffie was picked before Buffalo, I think the Bills kind of panicked a little bit. They went with the next corner on their board and said, make it work. And it just didn't work for a variety of reasons. And he went through some different secondary coaches. I will say the one that he had this past year was working one-on-one with him all training camp.
Sure.
Coaching him.
Do you feel like that was a last ditch to make it work?
I think it was. I think they were really hoping that he was going to be able to, after a few years of experience, kind of turn that page and make it work, and it just didn't. And they did start to up their man defense late in the season, playoffs especially, and I think they're going to be more balanced in terms of man versus zone in this new, this scheme with Babbage and McDermott, with some of the moves that they're making, some of the coaches that they've brought in, Pellegrino from New England, and I think they're trying to adapt a little bit so they're not too predictable.
Can you speak on him real quick? I was just going to ask you. Can you speak on Pellegrino a little bit?
This is the guy to speak on him. Probably. Yeah.
So highly regarded in New England. I always say, look at what the fan base says and look at what the media members say. And the media members were praising him for the way that he coached up so many players. And Jonathan Jones, who was a free agent, I thought the Bills might look at him. He signed elsewhere. Stephon Gilmore credited him a lot. J.C. Jackson, and the list went on and on and on. So the players loved him. He had a track record of success there. And it's funny because Buffalo's Nichols coach went over there and kind of like a coach for coach swap. But
oh my God, Chad Hall's gone. No. Speaking of that, I want to ask both of you guys. What do you guys both deem as the most cutthroat player business decision that has happened in your fandom and your tenure reporting? The most cutthroat that you saw was just.
Gosh.
The strength and conditioning coach that won the strength and conditioning.
Oh, a few years ago.
I mean, we'd be Bud Carpenter over here. Yes. Yeah. Uncle Bud. Oh, the best.
Yeah.
Right. Who's the most cutthroat across the organization that?
You make a great point with Bud, but you're right.
Uncle Bud, shout out.
Eric won the strength and conditioning coach 2 years ago, whatever it was, and the Bills were actually pretty healthy this year. Tons of wrist injuries. That's the one thing that kind of beat them up for a span of time, but I don't think.
Well, in the last 2 years, last year was the wrist injuries. The year before that was a lot of soft tissue, hamstring.
There were.
And that's all. That comes down to strength and conditioning.
Sure, it does. It does.
Of which the player grade outs at the NFLPA at the end graded them very high. We got graded very low with travel. I know we don't have Craft Force One.
Right.
So with it right now, you were very on it last year, and I will admonish you till the cows come home about it is not so doom and gloom in that wide receiver room.
Right.
Where you at this year? With the body of work we have right now going into it.
So I'm still in that belief. It's not doom and gloom. We saw the whole everyone eats mentality and how it worked. And Joshua Palmer fits exactly what the Bills need from the route running to create separation perspective. And Curtis Samuel had some bad luck with injuries this year. When he was healthy, you saw how he looked in this system. I think Keon Coleman, the way he was playing pre-injury, was surprising some people. Post-injury, he disappointed. But then you throw in Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid is going to have a huge role on this team in this upcoming season. He was dealing with an injury that was a lot more serious than anyone knew about all year with that PCL injury. Dealt with it, played through it, couldn't create that separation whatsoever this year, but I think a full offseason, getting healthy, you're going to see that he is going to have a big role in this offense. They're still going to get Knox involved, and that list just kind of goes on and on. They want to make sure that they have the versatility to run the ball, to pass the ball. that's why they're still 3 deep at running back with everything going on with James Cook. They bring back Ty Johnson. They still have Ray Davis. I mean, the list goes on here where I still feel like they're going to draft a guy probably round 2, round 4, somewhere in that range. They have so many picks that they can maneuver. I know they don't have a 3rd-round pick right now, but it wouldn't shock me if they traded some of those picks to get into the 3rd round. So they're going to draft a guy as well. And when it's all said and done, they're going to have a good enough room for sure.
Where do you think that they sit right now with James Cook? No, I mean honestly, because I think that they need to. I think that they need to. I think that they need to sign him. I mean, I don't want to see the $15 million number.
Right.
But I think that you're probably looking at 12.25. That number between Barkley and that number between Barkley and
12.25 rhymes with not whatever you said on Instagram Live.
So the big problem there is at the end of the season, those end of the season pressers, Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, both praised him more than any player not named Josh Allen for his importance to the offense, for what he did. And I sat there and I said, man, I think he's going to be higher up on the extension list than maybe I envisioned. Then he comes out and he goes public with the $15 million. And
is that Dalvin in his ear? And if it is Dalvin in his ear, do we kind of take a past performance may not be indicative of future results in terms of running back longevity based on what his brother faced?
Right. And yeah, I don't want to say for sure it was his brother or anyone else, but going public was the worst thing he could have done. And
left a lot of people unsettled, disgruntled, and it's just not the Buffalo way.
And Brandon Beane said the right things. We still love this guy. We want to have him here. Not always the greatest thing to go public with the demands, though. But now you have to sit there and you have to say, okay, $15 million probably doesn't make enough sense because he's not a blocker. He's not a 3-down back in this league. That being said, he's not just a running back. He's a weapon. He is someone that can take a short run the distance every time. He's someone that can catch the ball out of the backfield and get big chunks of yardage. I know he's had some bad drops along the way, but there's also been a lot of good there. So you have to balance that. He is still a very young player.
It's really hard to play a cover one because if you play a cover one, that's taking somebody out of predicated coverage.
Right.
So if you're going to play a cover one, which is a man spy, on Josh, that leaves a very dynamic swing back in tandem with 2 tackles.
Yeah.
If Spencer and Dion both do their job and everything's shored up on our pass pro, and they're in cover one and Josh doesn't run, you got a very dynamic swing back that can kind of beat some people in space.
So you have to look at the numbers and say, okay, 15 we might not be able to do, but what about 12.5, 13, where maybe we up the guaranteed money a little bit, or there's attainable incentives that can be met. You have to meet in the middle.
When you look at Saquon, the amount of carries that he has compared to Cook's carries is what, 50%?
It's 100 and something less carries for James
But
Cook.
I'll put you on the spot. Name the stable right now for the Eagles besides Saquon.
Last year or this year?
Yeah.
This year, the stable for the Eagles is. I really think there's a case to be made of Ty Johnson, do everything you need.
Right.
Ray Davis, great in pass pro set.
You want to get him more reps in the year 2.
It's just so dynamic that down and distance means less when everyone eats.
Right. The Bills.
With Joe Brady, that shit. The way Ken Dorsey was doing that, it was so predictable. Like every announcement.
Rest in peace.
They all know. Where's he going to Dallas? I heard.
I don't know, man.
I think he is.
Here or there, but like Joe Brady definitely changed the dynamic of this offense. And want to know maybe every freaking week that dude want to know. Never ever commented anything else. Want to know every week.
Yeah. So we know the train horn is here to stay. Joe Brady's here to stay. Is Mr. Brightside here to stay? You think was it that palatable in all the home games you saw? Like,
that's not our identity. Though. We didn't start that. Michigan did.
A lot of places do it too. If you're just watching college sports, things like that, it's definitely been done before. But the players absolutely love it. They get hyped up when it's going on. The fans are hyped up. So I do think it's here to stay for at least the next few years.
So let me ask you two: if you guys are running out of that tunnel, what song is obviously we have all the songs that are so identifiable to certain players. And
What
stuff like
song
that.
is blaring for you guys?
I'll go with the Simpsons reference. Why can't we be friends? When Homer goes out to go for the boxing match, throw him off a little bit. Throw him off.
Oh, shout out. Yeah, be cool. What's your song?
Man, that's a good question too. I'm not like a
Hosanna in the highest? Oh.
That Penn State song you just played.
What's it? Mobamba? Mobamba is great. Rye, I got to ask you, and then I'm going to throw it to Be Cool. Last year, and there's a lot to be said about you got to keep the main thing, but sometimes not the main thing has everything to do with the main thing. The team's synergy, the camaraderie, defend our dirt, the process. Do you feel like it's reasonable to say that we can have as close as a team as we've had again back this year? Because it's all they talk about.
Yeah, I do. One, you look at the offensive line and the pizza parties and all that. They're all coming back into the fold. The depth is all there. The offense. Josh is so good about whenever a player is drafted or signed, he is like the first person to reach out to them. Joshua Palmer said, I found out I was going to join the Bills. I heard from my agent, I heard from my parents, and then I heard from Josh Allen. So it goes in that order. So Josh reaches out, gets you in. I do really believe that training camp at St. John Fisher University is big for that as well because they're living that.
Is that chicken sandwich that good?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too. The
Turkey burger.
Turkey
Burger.
Not too bad.
It's some bird of limited flight.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're hanging out nonstop in those dorm rooms and video games and whatnot. So they are going to be just as close, in my opinion.
So to speak of another Josh, we got super producer Ty. He wants to ask you a question about Josh Palmer.
Yeah.
A couple things because he is the new bee's knees in town right now. I'm going to sway to him right now.
Yeah, so we just got we've done some great things in the free agent market, and Josh Palmer is one that's come across the board. 40-yard dash time, 4.5. A lot of people are comparing him to a great Andre Reed.
I think that's Steve Tasker's comparison. So
No, Andre Reed. A lot of people.
No, he's saying it's Steve Tasker's comparison.
reset
not,
the room.
You guys are absolutely destroying what I'm saying. But basically, we need that guy to get separation. He's a great route runner.
Right.
He's comparable to Andre Reed. And is he the guy that we kind of just got like a diamond in the rough, like stolen from the draft? He was like kind of like the third man on the roster in LA. What are your thoughts?
So his whole story is interesting. He played at Tennessee in college, and he never had a good quarterback play whatsoever. So he finishes his career at Tennessee. They're thinking probably an early day 3 pick, round 4, round 5. He goes to the Senior Bowl, and there is still, if you go on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and kind of look up Joshua Palmer, Senior Bowl, there's clips of him just torching cornerbacks, having the, crossing him over, twisting their ankles, falling over, and all of a sudden the talk went, this is a day 2 guy. Goes to LA, and you're right, he's behind a lot of very talented wide receivers first and foremost, but the only problem, and the biggest problem in my opinion that they had in Los Angeles, he had 3 offensive coordinators in 4 years. So it's a new system. And second year, he really did play very, very well. He's coming to a new system, obviously, in Buffalo, but he's going to have a lot more opportunities here.
Keenan Allen, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so opportunities are limited when you have guys like that in that locker room. I think this is going to be a good move for him. I think the salary came in a little bit higher than some people expected, but that also tells me there was a market for him as well.
And a desire to be here.
Yeah.
And Ryan, real quick, I wanted to jump back to what your thoughts on the locker room real quick. With Cook going out in the media and everything like that, we did get a comment from Julie. She said that Cook is giving Diggs vibes. Does that kind of
he's
like
not quoting Drake?
No, I get that, but also too at the same time, like marketing yourself in the media.
That was that was like a throat throttle right there.
When you have that,
You're playing for the name on the back and not the one on the front.
right, and I get that, and that's
Racing all your
Clearly, there are some opinions.
No, I'm not biased. I just think he could have handled it better, for sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's unprofessional. He is a rookie, too, and I do believe his brother was in his ear. It's not...
Well, but there's correlation between Diggs' brother. Yeah.
You know your worth.
Diggs' brother also being a catalyst. Like, there's no way Diggs' brother tweets that about Josh unless he has agency from his brother to tweet that about that Josh.
Right. Yeah, the dynamic of family members.
Don't waste too much time on this.
No, I get it, but I also get where Cook is coming from the perspective that they had that big running back call 2 years ago, and we have to go back out there and we have to make sure that we are getting what we're worth because they were getting treated like the most unimportant part of the
redheaded stepchild.
Yes, essentially, and.
We were too apt as a fandom to put them to the glue factory once they stopped winning the Preakness, basically.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely. This is still someone though that's in his mid-20s, and the way the cap keeps going up year after year, if you did get him in that $13 million range, it's going to look like a deal sooner rather than later. So they just have to find that middle ground.
sure. And when it comes to middle ground right now, the middle ground about like the projectivity. Rye, to you, does the whole of what we're losing, and the hole was big last year, does it seem like this hole gets a little bit more smaller with what we've done in the offseason? Because we have garnered national praise about our forthcomingness about picking up people who are good for the culture, good for the team, and are cap-friendly additions that can inch us closer, but not punch us and punch our ticket to the Super Bowl. You know,
Yeah.
It's just Joey Bosa. Does he at least half punch us a little bit farther, or how close are we before him versus after him? Is it inches? Is it miles? Or is it who knows?
I think it gets a little bit closer because in Buffalo he's not going to have to play a heavy snap load, which that was kind of
That
the
rotation's
case.
big.
The rotation's big for someone that says, I'm getting older, and he has been banged up the last 3 years. This is a good chance for him to come in and redeem himself, play those obvious pass rush downs, and the Bills can use a rotation elsewhere. Hoyt, once he gets off of that suspension, can be a rundown type player.
They absolutely had to know.
They did know on Hoyt.
They did. Okay,
Yep,
there we go.
they
That's what we
absolutely-
surmised here,
Yes.
that they know. Yeah.
And that's a 3-year deal, so that softens the blow a little bit, knowing that he's going to be here long.
It seems like that was priced in.
Yeah, and then Ogunjobi, that's a little bit more difficult because it's a 1-year deal, but it's not like he was signed to be that one tech next to Ed Oliver. It's depth behind Ed Oliver.
Sure.
And Carter, and now you have to ask Carter to step up a little bit or sign another free agent, kind of be part of that rotation early on in the season. There's a lot of moves that I do like. That,
Wouldn't have to do this if we brought back Harrison Phillips.
but here in that payday.
Oh yeah. Someone's about to flip over a table.
Bills never offered him. They
We
never
know.
countered
We know the
offer.
story. Yeah,
we
it's
know.
awful.
Harrison wanted to be.
Yeah, it's a tragedy novel worse than the Titanic. If we brought it up,
I
so
love that guy, man.
we did. So right, who can be addressed at pick 30 right now? No swaps, no exchanges, no movement. What position group is most apt to be addressed at pick 30 right now?
One tech or cornerback. Those are the two for me.
One second corner, okay.
Yep. Maxwell Harrison's a player I really like in terms of the cornerback position. I think that could be there at pick 30. Great player, fits the scheme of what they're trying to do. And then obviously Kenneth Grant's my guy at one tech out of Michigan. Even though I'm a Notre Dame fan, Grant's game just really seems to translate well to the NFL. The freak athleticism, the ability to stop the run, but also get after the quarterback. He moves extremely well for a guy that's over 330 pounds. So those are two players I'm looking at, but definitely the two positions that I'm targeting here is that true one tech, because they always play undersized guys there. It feels like I think they really need to do go and get a 330-pound one tech type player, and then obviously a cornerback, because Dane Jackson helps you in terms of the floor. He knows the system. He's depth.
He is depth. He is probably a CB3 at the most.
And competing though for
Absolutely
corner
not.
off,
So
yeah.
let me ask you something. let me ask you something about that real quick, Ryan, before we get to our.
I'm sorry, dude. You're my boy. I feel like we're my boy. I can do that.
No,
but
absolutely.
Before we get to these lovely cannolis with this game, so real quick, what do you feel? How do you feel about
I'm
because
sorry.
I actually in my first mock draft I had Trey Amos going to the Bills. How do you feel about him?
and
as a
I love
player?
the other Jordan Phillips. For the guy out of Maryland.
There's a Jordan Phillips and there's another one with the Bills name. What is it? It'll come to me later.
Well, the good one, the other Josh Johnson, who it was the Jaguars. There's a great story about that. He had one Division I offer where I played at Monmouth University,
right?
And he signed his signing day thing. He was going to Monmouth University, and then at the negative 2 hours, Kentucky came in, didn't realize he signed, and Coach Kevin Callahan will be a guest on this. He's the
that was Josh Allen, right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. Josh Allen, he was the winning Coach Callahan from Monmouth University. He's the winningest Division I coach there. I had the opportunity to play with him. Chris Hogan, everything like that. They let him out of his contract. They're like, you know what? Yeah, go play in the SEC. So especially in the days of the NIL, if you're a fringe guy, you might want to milk an extra year. Out of playing, Division I sports. Is it a little bit harder to cover the teams knowing that there's so many different revenue, and the penultimate goal isn't get out of the clutches of the NCAA and go forward? Right. Maybe you want to milk the certainty of the payday at the collegiate level, and then
absolutely. College football, college basketball as well. There's a player on St. Bonaventure who will not go pro NBA, but will play internationally probably for 10, 15 years when all is said and done. But I've heard through the grapevine that he has been offered a couple $100,000 to transfer to a
probably Deion Sanders.
Transfer to another program for another year. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't you go and play for that team and collect hundreds of thousands of dollars, stay in the States? And
just shoot a Subaru ad once a week,
Yeah.
Well, and that's why they're saying a lot of these kids are staying the extra year because they're making as much as they would in their first year of NFL. So why not get that guaranteed money now?
Right.
And if you get hurt or anything else, your football career is over. You took that money and you're setting yourself up for life. So
100%, unless you're a guaranteed top 10 or first round pick. You do have to weigh that. Do I want to go back for another year where I can make all of this money and be on a team that can compete for a national title and still improve my draft stock as well?
So, we're gimmicky guys, we're gimmicky fans, and we're gimmicky podcast. The last one kind of ended in tears for me.
Let's grade that out a little bit, Ryan. Real quick.
No, I want Ryan's opinion. Did you think that was performative on my behalf? And we can on it real quick. I DoorDashed you some hot wings, and we got some of our own.
Accidentally sent him suicide wings.
Yo, can you play real quick on the soundboard "Ring of Fire" by Johnny Cash?
He's just kidding.
I'm just kidding. We didn't preload that. Yeah, and I didn't preload the trauma of which I was going to have the next day over that thing, but. We do have a little gimmicky game we're gonna pop it on right now, and it's called by Do Champions Media. We're at Iliad Apollo's 3785 South Park Avenue. It's called Guess That Check. What we did is Be Cool Fool is going to present you a guest check from here. On that guest check, you're gonna see.
Doing what?
You're gonna present that check.
What we handed you.
What you handed you? He got you. You got.
I know.
You got.
Of course I did.
So we're going to pivot the monitor real quick to Ryan, and he's going to look at the guest check real quick. The integral details on that is when the guest check was from, the bill, which is going to be how much the Bills paid them, and some of the items that they paid us. So hand him the guest check first. This one is going to be from the year 2007 to 2010 with a subtotal of $18,935,000.
Wow.
What?
$18 million,
sorry.
$935,000.
So, Mr. Ryan Talbot, what this guy ordered, it was one glass of Hennessy, 2 rainbow Skittle shots, and 1 Bear Burger. That subtotal on that was $18.935 million. What ex-player do you think that was?
I'm assuming a California Bear.
Okay.
I'm only here so I don't
The skit. Why am I not thinking? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Marshawn Lynch. Okay.
So once again, it has to be your final answer. This guest check is from 2007 to 2010. He ordered 1 glass of Hennessy, 1 or 2 rainbow Skittle shots, and a Bear Burger for $18.93 million.
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch. Can we lock that in? Can we lock it in?
Now, see, you could have done like Applebee's order.
Don't celebrate. Yeah, well,
No, it was Applebee's.
they let me pour my own drinks here.
Some stuff at David Buster's
So hand him the next guest check, Mr. Big Coat. The next guest check over there. Next guest check on this one, you can see on the screen, he ordered 3 Pacific oysters, 2 bottles of double back cab. It's almost like he owns the brand. And 1 Cougar flank steak. It's from 2010 to 2004 for a tally of $19.25 million.
Is this for me again?
That's for you.
Drew Bledsoe, lock it in.
Oh, God, come on with it, baby.
Yeah, that trade was definitely a good thing at the time that it happened. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, except for the first game of the season, 31-0. Seeing Sam Adams rumble down the field that year.
Rumbling, stumbling. Yeah, I mean, he does own, like, to pivot from that, I mean, it's almost like an episode of Entourage, you know? Like that he gets a tequila brand, he gets a wine brand. It's just fantastic. So, actually, we're going to throw this to Anthony on this one. The guest check on this one. It's from the tab of 2023. It looks like he left it open. But the note on the guest check is he forgot to check in at the hostess stand for his reservation. Take that for what you will. 3 fish tacos, 3 Stella Artois, and a Bruin tempura. I would like to highlight that he forgot to check in at the hostess stand. He forgot to check in.
No.
Current Buffalo Bill.
Current Buffalo Bill. 23 to open.
6 man.
He forgot to check in at the hostess stand.
Forgot to check in.
The 6 man.
So
Anderson.
Alec Anderson. Oh, well done, lad. Alec Anderson. So running it back to Ryan, we got another one. Give him another guest check. This guest check, some Clase Azul tequila, some Ilios chicken parm, and a Longhorn big prime cut.
And he was here 2011 to 2016, and the total he was paid is $22.667 million.
Come on with it, baby!
It's not a good one, is it? Texas.
You're on the right track.
I am
You're on the right track, but he played on the other side of the ball.
Right. Oh, Aaron Williams.
Oh, God.
Hey, Will.
I thought this was going to go a lot worse.
I mean, this is fun.
I thought so too, honestly.
Final one. Final one is
No, we gotta give this to be cool on this one.
You got this.
Yes, you do. You got this one. It is gonna be. He's got 2 stadium brats. You know, the Green Bay Stadium brats. 1 Cohiba cigar. He's a cigar guy. Hey, don't say it. And some East Aurora Rosie's handmade ice cream. Hey, they did. Yo, listen, stop. Wait, hang on. They didn't charge him anything because it was
his
a little.
His meal was
comped. It was a little. Oh, he got it.
He's not Hall of Fame, but he's Hall of Fame.
He should be.
Should be.
Absolutely should be.
That's another question, Ryan. If you're nominated so many times, are you able to keep getting nominated?
So he is up now for the senior division.
And he should go in.
Yes,
He should go in the
100%
next
should.
couple of years. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous he's not in. If you're gonna sit here and talk
If you're gonna
about
sit here and call special teams a third of the game,
Right.
you can't do it.
Well, I mean, he's one of the rare players. I mean, back when the Pro Bowl actually mattered, when Pro Bowl MVP and all of the different plays that he made for that team, he really could have been a good wide receiver in that offense if they would have utilized him more.
it also would have been. Ryan, do you remember the celebrity death match on MTV?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Clay,
I thought that'd be an interesting Clay celebrity death match between Don Beebe and Steve Tasker because they just were at odds. They get mistaken for one another all the time, and it just invokes out of me that if you can still have these stories 20 years later.
I still think one of the greatest things that we had was on the pod when we were talking to Bud, and he goes,
Uncle Bud Carpenter.
What's a Don Beebe?
From Shadron State. And then Bourbon asked him to get a bottle of popcorn. So this is a wrap it up. We did an hour. We had a great moment for everything here. This is this was something that we're happy to do in person because
it was great. It was great.
Because
I mean, Ryan, we want to thank you very much.
Because the stories before dinner kind of invoked all the energy we presented after dinner. But, Matt, we know what we always do. We always say, who you talking to? Who you talking to is just wishing well wishes, health, happiness, and wellness to a current person on the roster or in the front office. So I go, hey, Matt, who are you talking to?
So at this point right now, I'm going to continue to talk to Brandon Bean.
Okay.
I have to. I have to. You had a little mishap this year, your first mistake in probably 7 years that you've been here, and very uncharacteristic. So let's,
Let's keep the main thing.
Even though it's not going to be a big deal, the first 6 games for the Bills really never is a big deal. But what are we going to do moving forward? How are we going to bring in CB2? Are we going through the draft? Are we going through free agency, picking up another guy? Please tell me Dane Jackson is not CB2 because I will probably pull my hair out. What's left of it?
Yeah.
I was
gonna say you can only make that threat, about one more year. So
yeah, I mean it's almost gone at this point. So with that being said, let's throw it to Ryan real quick. Ryan, who are you talking to?
Ryan, who are you talking to, buddy?
Another Ryan Nielsen, new senior defensive assistant, going to focus in on the defensive line. That has been a weak spot for this team in years past. Sometimes against the run, but mostly against getting after the quarterback. He has a track record of, getting his players the pressure rate up without having to blitz. If he can fix this defensive line the way Aaron Cromer fixed the O-line, good things are going to happen.
Very good.
Right. Like that's the thing though. Like Aaron Cromer did wondrous things with this, with the offensive line. He took like a top 15 unit and turned them into a top 3 unit.
Right.
So.
And we're throwing it over to Be Cool Fool from Pancho's Army. Just honoring the legacy of Ezra Pancho Bill Castro. You can check him out with the golf, the meat raffle, the toy drive, the backpacks. Who are you talking to, laddie?
I'm talking to everybody.
Oh, I knew it. Let's go, bud. You got the floor.
Everybody needs to laugh. Everybody just needs to be themselves and just appreciate the people that bring them up. And it's easier to kick somebody down rather than bring somebody
Build them up.
And I'm nothing without the amazing people I surround myself with, including you guys from New Champion. You guys are a godsend, man. And watching you guys grow, especially, is just refreshing and inspirational in a sense. But I'm nothing. Like I just love what I do. I'm addicted to the smiles and our backpack event. Like
it's one of the best things that I've ever seen. Like seeing how many people
Yeah,
are
talk
out
to
there.
him. You can talk.
I
You
mean,
can talk to him.
Like seriously, no, and I'm being serious. Like that was our first thing that we did kind of together.
Talk to him.
And it was one of the best things that I've seen. Everybody from Lackawanna came out, and you guys just handing out all those backpacks was just it was just something to be seen. It really is.
The money we raise at our meat raffle that's what makes this happen.
The backpacks, yeah.
And the fact that we sold out 400 tickets in 4 days to our meat raffle is proof that God's listening. And
It's not. It's only God. It's not only. Let's give it to him one time. Poncho.
I can't do it.
One time. I'll do one time.
Poncho.
I'll do one time.
But it's help with you guys. It's help with Ryan. It's just
So I'm
me
talking
finish
about.
up my life. My God, my son. I mean, the kids cooking chicken wings at our tailgates, and we feed people for free. We don't charge anybody. It's just it's a blessing to see people. When somebody believes in you, it's a.
And that impromptu concert was amazing. Let me tell you.
Dude, Dom never jumped through a
Amazing.
table.
It was amazing seeing him go through the table this year. So.
But like I said, it's a fun adventure that we're doing, and we're on guidance to do what we got to do, man. I'm having fun doing it, and I couldn't be here without our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Love it.
And student, who you talking to? Real
Who I'm
quick?
talking to, I don't know how many, in the best way possible. I don't know how many more days we have with him, but Marv Levy, you own the land, but everything you instilled allowed everybody involved with this to do the construction. So I would say thanks for drilling this into me.
He's a beacon, man. That dude is.
Yeah,
I love that.
Jewish too.
William and Mary, man. it must produce great coaches because
Hey Matt, everything you need.
nothing you don't. And real quick, Ryan, let's throw it to you real quick because we want to give you the floor for a couple of sequence to push whatever you got.
Famous quote from Mark Levy, though. What's your most?
Oh yeah, I'll extend the podcast for this. Let's go.
My famous quote from him is, "The game is just fun."
Mine is not actually.
beer that you
It's
drank.
not actually what he wrote, but mine is the poem that he read after the
Go
after.
forth.
Yeah.
Go for yeah.
Wolves-
Lay down and bleed a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
probably
was
be mine
just-
as well.
Yep. Yours as
For
well.
sure, yeah, I think so.
So real quick, Ryan, we're gonna give you the floor for a couple of seconds, couple of minutes, whatever you want to take, and just tell us what you got going on right now within not only the community but also within the Shout podcast and everything else, where people can find you and everything else.
Yeah, you can find me on all socials at Ryan Talbot Bills. I work at Syracuse.com, NYUp.com, the Shout podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms. We go live a few times a week on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Live shows every month at Wingnuts. We have another one coming up soon at Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Syracuse. So
We just got the comment, Ryan, please take a couple of hours.
So what's next? The OnlyFans?
No, not for us. Not for us.
No. So we'll swing it to you as well.
You're way too fast.
Be cool. What do you got going on coming in with the meat raffle and all that stuff?
So our meat
Backpack
raffle-
drive and all that. Yeah.
Meat raffle is in May 3rd. All our money is going to a lady that's suffering from cancer with 2 kids. She's 36 years old. That sponsors her and our backpack endeavor. Our next adventure is through the YMCA. We're doing a basketball tournament and then our golf tournament. But in the meanwhile, we have our backpack event in Atlanta on August 16th with Buffalo Freddy Party Rental, all our tents, and 716 Outdoors. They're donating a bench that is commemorating the people that were killed in Buffalo Tops tragedy.
Oh, okay.
It's an endeavor that we started last year where we gave a bench to Aaron Salter. It's just something that we plan on doing every year just to
You ain't going nowhere.
never forget.
You ain't going nowhere.
You can't forget your people that you lost. You can't, I always give a toast. It's to the people that aren't with us and the people that want to be us.
So absolutely. Oh,
Absolutely. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. Everybody that enjoys Bills stuff, come join us here at Do
Yo,
Champions.
Anthony, good to be seen, buddy.
Follow Be Cool
good to
Fool
be
for
seen.
anything with Ponch's Army. Ryan Talbot
Ryan,
Bills.
good to be seen, buddy.
Check us out Saturday nights, 9 p.m.
Hey,
at
Matt.
Third Manageable.
Good to be seen, buddy.
To be seen.
Derek.